Am I the jerk for breaking up with my fiancée after finding out there were strippers at her bachelorette party? The essence of the title is this: my 29M ex-fiancée, 29F, and I shared a 5-year relationship that should have culminated in marriage by now, under normal circumstances. However, I made the difficult decision to call off the wedding and end our relationship just 2 days prior, all because male strippers were invited to her bachelorette party. While I'm not particularly fond of such events, I reluctantly consented after both sides of the wedding party assured me it would remain low-key. I made it abundantly clear to my ex-fiancée that I wasn't comfortable with strippers or any other form of wild behavior. She agreed to this condition. During the celebration, my friends and I opted for a relaxed gathering at a summer house, spending time by the pool, engaging in World of Warcraft raids, and playing board games. Meanwhile, my ex-fiancée and her friends chose to dine at a restaurant before renting an Airbnb. The night seemed to pass without incident, and the following day, I inquired about how things had gone. Both my ex-fiancée and her close friends assured me that everything had been perfectly calm and enjoyable. However, while shopping for a birthday gift for my ex-fiancée, I ran into one of the bridesmaids with whom I had some shared history from our college days. Although we hadn't spoken much lately, she was closer to my fiancé than to me. She awkwardly mentioned that the previous night had been wild with the presence of strippers, visibly uncomfortable as she divulged this information. Despite my probing for details, she seemed hesitant to share more, perhaps realizing she had spoken out of turn. I brushed off the conversation, bid her farewell, and left. Confronting my fiancé about this revelation, she appeared genuinely surprised. At first, she denied any knowledge of such events, but eventually admitted that a bridesmaid had arranged for the strippers against her wishes. However, she downplayed the situation, claiming that it was just some solo dances and nothing more. I reiterated the importance of my boundaries and requested time to process everything. As I journeyed back home, almost all of the bridesmaids reached out to assure me that nothing untoward had occurred, though their messages were clearly not coordinated. Despite their reassurances, I ultimately made the difficult decision to end the relationship and cancel the wedding, albeit at a financial cost due to the proximity to the event. Presently, I find myself in a state of turmoil, grappling with criticism from all sides and unsure of my next steps. My sister has suggested seeking therapy to help navigate my emotions, which I intend to pursue. Some mutual acquaintances have urged me to reconsider, dismissing the incident as trivial, but I cannot overlook the breach of trust, particularly given the attempts to conceal the truth from me. Update, 1 day later. I read most of the comments in the original post and thank you for the advice. My problem was that not her being blindsided by her friends, but lying. Every bridesmaid told different things and none of them gave details about what happened. I believe you can understand it just shatters the trust and makes you think there is something going on. I thought there was something wrong with me after reading the comments. There were a lot of YTAs and I thought I should apologize. One of the bridesmaids reached out to me last evening. I suspect she saw the post somewhere and recognized it. I knew my fiancé was having problems with her friends since last week, but I did not know the extent. Apparently, my ex-fiancé and her close friends blamed the girl that I encountered at mall about everything. This divided the group and led into a verbal fight. I will skip the personal details here, but in the end, she told me my ex-fiancé and other bridesmaids got sexual with the strippers. My fiancé was the only one who had boyfriend, fiancé, spouse, at least monogamously there to my knowledge. Also, I was told by her that my ex-fiancé was not blindsided with stripper invites. She was happy to see the strippers and was relieved she had an excuse. I do not have proof for all of these, but I got a short video of girls making out with strippers. One of the girls is my ex-fiancé, and that's enough. She has been trying to reach out to me since we broke up. I confronted her again. At first, she denied it again, then it became, we just touched. Then, okay, we kissed too. Okay, I gave him a hand job. Finally, I was coerced into doing these by others as I pressed on. I just blocked her after the last part. I did not see any need to learn further. I was hurt already, but learning that I got cheated on hurt more. I'm not sure if it's the full truth even now. I will never know, but all I can say is it hurts. I will go to a therapist to not carry my luggage to my next relationship. I lost 15K from the wedding-related things and need to focus on filling the hole for a while. Some misogynists made weird comments about women, and I'll just ignore them. Some of the people told me I am an insecure, unfunny nerd for playing WoW on my bachelor party. Isn't the whole point of bachelor parties having one last fun? It was raiding non-stop with the boys for me, not having one last sexual interaction with a stranger or having a stranger's butt on my face or penis. I will not miss on out these during marriage anyways, omitting the stranger part. That's it. It's therapy time tomorrow, and thank you for the help. Okay, next story. OOP finds out her child is pregnant and expects OOP to raise the baby as her child's sibling. My daughter came to me at 16 and said she was non-binary, but only sometimes. Like some days she would feel more male than female, and some days she would feel like neither. She wanted me to ask her every day what day it was and then refer to her as that pronoun of the day. I told her that wasn't going to fly. Growing up, I spent a lot of time on LJ, Live Journal, during the Old Bun Self and Zen Self Zer Self days. People who think this is new to this generation are fooling themselves. I told her that I would call her the pronoun she wanted and do my best to remember it day to day, but she was going to have to tell me what she wanted for that day. I wasn't going to play a daily guessing game. This went on for about a week or two, until she finally seemed to grow tired or bored and just said I could call her. Though she still identifies as non-binary. Fine. At least when it was going on she wanted she, he, or they. I'm sorry, but I couldn't have done fox self, fox them with a straight face. So that's the pronoun story, and looking back where I think things started to go off the handle. Here's my real question. My daughter is now 18, pregnant, and seems to have lost her goddamned mind. Or I'm an asshole. You choose. This year has been a struggle. She wanted to take a break year before she goes to community college, but can't keep a job. Apparently, retail situations are too phobic against her non-binary state. My child looks, acts, dresses exactly as a young adult female BTW. When I ask how people are being phobic against her, she gets as prickly as a cactus, so I really don't know the details. She's been through 4 or 5 jobs this year, quit all of them. She won't consider call centers that aren't face-to-face because she doesn't like to talk on phones and is apparently looking for a remote job without any luck. She's been unemployed since Thanksgiving. She quit her last job on Black Friday, in fact, and I was on the verge of laying down the law, telling her she either needs to go to school this upcoming semester full-time or get a full-time job or move out with her friends. But now she's come to me and she's 5 months pregnant. She's very angry at me, says it's my fault because I didn't put her on puberty-blocking hormones when she came to me 2 years ago. She believes I am in fact trying to feminize her by getting her birth control. The pill. She's been throwing her prescription away. This is where I might be the asshole. I called her a little idiot. We don't use that sort of language in my house, and I never call people names, especially my own child. But at that moment, I could just see red. The hormone thing is a non-issue IMO because this is the first time I ever heard of her wanting hormones. What was I supposed to do? Go back in time? As for the birth control, it's also the first time I'm hearing anything about this. There are non-pill options that don't have estrogen. If that was her want, all she had to do was ask, and I would have driven her to the doctor myself. Or she could have taken the car she has and done it. She has her own medical card, even. Though, to be fair, I don't know how she would have managed the copay without a job. I know for a fact her old high school gave out free condoms like candy because her friends were always giggling over flavored sample packs and even blew a few of them up like balloons and left them around the house one time. She had all the birth control she could ever want and used none of it. It gets worse. We're way past the date of abortion. Again, I would have helped her if this had been her wish. We live in an abortion-protected state and can afford it. She's known she was pregnant since about 2 months and has come to think of her baby like a sibling. She expects me to raise it like it was mine. That this is my duty, in fact, because she says it is my refusal to accept her non-binary state that led to her being pregnant. So she was going to get a brother or sister, and I was going to have another child. You can say my language grew sterner to versions of, "Get your head out of your ass," and "Congratulations, Mommy, you have some hard decisions to make." And I said I would absolutely not raise her baby for her. She also refused to say who the father was. Now that I've cooled down, I'm really hoping she has a secret boyfriend. She does have some friends who were born male, but now also don't identify that way. We didn't even get there as I lost my mind when she said she thinks of her own baby as a sibling and wants me to raise it like my own child. She's locked herself in her room, loudly wailing, "I feel like crap, warmed over." She's been in there for 12 hours, and as she has an attached bathroom, probably won't be coming out until she gets hungry. Considering it's been half a day, I think she has snacks stored. I also don't know where to go from here. Being pregnant sucks and messes with your head, so I'd like to blame that and the fear she must be feeling. But I have the bad feeling I either raised a spoiled brat or someone with an emerging personality disorder. So I need to know from people who aren't emotionally involved, and maybe some people who are more in tune with this whole non-binary thing than I am. What do I do to help while also making her responsible for her own child? How can I help my daughter accept she must do basically the most feminine thing you can do, give birth and possibly breastfeed, while being sensitive that she's non-binary? Am I just a big asshole here? Typing all this out, it feels like my daughter is lost in crazy town. I'm still not raising her baby, but at what point do I drag a legal adult to the hospital? Edit. You might disagree with my choices or wording, but I'm reporting people who call this bait. It's not. Edit 2. It's the middle of the night and she has decided to pack some of her clothes and stay with one of her friends, one who I suspect is the baby daddy. Before she left, she told me that she already called the police and let them know that she was leaving of her own free will and was not in danger. Like I was going to report an 18-year-old adult as a runaway or something? It was insulting. I told her she needs to work out details if she wants to adopt with the father, and she was welcome back home when she had a plan in place. It was short because I heard her on the way out. I think she just meant to leave without saying anything. Commenters agreed that OOP's child wasn't thinking straight. Comment 1, you're not the asshole. I hate to be blunt, but I genuinely hope that OP's daughter decides to place the baby for adoption, as she seems to be struggling and uncertain. It's understandable that OP doesn't want to get involved in the chaotic situation and take on the responsibility of raising the child. Comment 2. To be frank, if OP agrees to raise this child as her own, it's likely just the beginning of a series of similar situations. The daughter, who refuses birth control, seems destined to continue engaging in unprotected intercourse, resulting in further pregnancies. Complicating matters, she declared her identity as non-binary, NB, a few years back, seemingly expecting her mother to fully comprehend and support her, and is now distorting past events to hold her mother responsible for her current pregnancy. It's a bewildering situation made even more complex by the fact that she's not biologically related to me. Unfortunately, it appears this won't be the last time we'll be confronted with such challenges. Comment 3. Hey OP, I want to address some key points here. Firstly, you're absolutely not the asshole, NTA. It's evident that your child is going through a challenging time, possibly experiencing body dysphoria, which can lead to confusion and feeling trapped. Their behavior, such as blaming you and lashing out, might stem from their struggle to accept responsibility and find a way out of their situation. It's crucial to empathize with their struggle, especially considering their youth and the significant life changes they're facing. They may not fully understand themselves yet, adding to their sense of confusion and helplessness. Additionally, having to care for a baby when they're still grappling with their own identity adds another layer of complexity. However, it's essential to address the reckless act of disposing of birth control. This action disregards the importance of understanding both gender stereotypes and biological realities. Regardless of gender identity, biology functions the same way, and it's crucial for your child to comprehend this distinction. Overall, you're not at fault in this difficult situation. It's a challenging time for both you and your child, and I genuinely hope things improve for your family. Comment 4. You're not the asshole here. It's evident that your child's behavior is challenging, and without your guidance, it could be much worse. Additionally, it's important to clarify that birth control isn't about feminization. It's about taking responsibility, especially for individuals with uteruses who engage in sexual activity that could lead to pregnancy. OOP's response, "Ugh, I wish I had those words when she hit me with that one." I sort of sputtered for a few minutes. Comment 5. The situation at hand is undoubtedly complex and fraught with challenges. While I regret not having more definitive guidance, I empathize deeply with the difficult position you find yourself in. One potential approach worth considering is the use of inclusive language such as chest feeding instead of breastfeeding, which might foster greater acceptance from your newborn daughter. However, it's crucial to recognize that this is merely scratching the surface of a much larger issue. Priority should be given to seeking therapy promptly for your daughter. It's imperative for her to address and resolve any emotional or psychological challenges she may be facing. The assumption that you will simply assume responsibility for raising the child is problematic, and it's essential to confront this issue head-on. Given the impending deadline, swift action is imperative. Additionally, prompt scheduling of pregnancy checkups is vital. Without proper monitoring, there is a heightened risk of complications. Consider arranging for a social worker to assist with these appointments and provide support throughout the pregnancy and birthing process. Your daughter needs to engage in a candid and serious conversation about accountability for her actions. While it's understandable to acknowledge the potential influence of external factors, it's crucial to recognize that ultimately, her choices have led to this situation. Encourage her to reflect on the decisions she made and the alternatives she may have overlooked. Ultimately, it's essential for her to understand that the consequences of her actions are hers to bear, and not to shift blame onto you. By addressing these issues directly and seeking appropriate support, you can navigate this challenging situation with greater clarity and resilience. OOP's response: "Thank you for the advice. I've made a note of it." I mentioned their non-binary identity because using breast instead of chest could provoke a strong negative reaction from them, especially when they're in a bad mood. It may seem trivial, but they tend to be quite sensitive about such matters and have a tendency to be dramatic. Given the anonymity of the internet, I'll admit I'm apprehensive about dealing with pregnancy and postpartum mood swings, particularly since it involves aspects so closely tied to femininity. The prospect of managing this alongside the stress of caring for a newborn is daunting, and I'm already bracing myself for the challenges ahead. Our recent conversation was unproductive, devolving into an argument, and they're still upset in their room. However, it's concerning that they haven't received any prenatal care, and I'm determined to ensure that changes moving forward. OOP commented with some of her concerns. "Yes, my worry and regret have so many places to go, and a big part of it is for the baby. This has been a bad day." Responding to a comment regarding her child's entitled attitude, "Oh, believe you me, I have been kicking myself up and down on top of everything else. I don't know how she got to this point, but she's there now. I wish I did have that time travel machine she clearly expects me to have." She also clarified her overall views on the matter. I find myself torn about the situation. If she displayed characteristics that suggested she didn't identify with a specific gender, I believe that's what NB means, I might take it more seriously. However, she presents herself as a woman. She dresses femininely, wears makeup, opts for dresses, and enjoys traditionally feminine activities. For instance, we bond over watching horse videos on YouTube and get excited over new foal clips. She's never exhibited tomboyish behavior. Initially, I decided it wasn't harmful and allowed her the space to express herself, unsure if it was just a phase or something more significant. After the initial adjustment period, she stopped changing pronouns frequently. However, discussions about being non-binary resurfaced strongly after she finished high school and started working in retail. I tried to empathize, knowing firsthand how challenging retail can be. I'd only returned to it as a last resort. But lately, it seems like she's using her identity as a shield to avoid work. Now, with a baby on the way, I worry she's regressing to a more immature state. I'm uncertain whether she's grappling with her non-binary identity or if she's using it as an excuse to evade responsibilities. It's troubling, and while the internet may not have the answers, I can't help but feel deeply concerned. Update. Hi, this is an update to this post. Long story short, my 18-year-old NB daughter wanted me to raise her baby, and she told me she thinks the baby is her sibling. We had a blowout. She locked herself in her room for most of a day and then took off with her friends, her lover. So this happened a few days ago, but I didn't update because I needed to get my head around it. It still doesn't make sense. Daughter finally unblocked me. She and the person who got her pregnant wanted to talk to me at a public place. We chose IHOP. Although I suspected I knew who her lover was, I was disappointed to find out because they have been a part of my daughter's friend group since high school and was the only one I ever had a problem with and kicked out of my house. They are trans now, but 2 years ago, the friend group was watching a movie in the living room, and every time I'd pass by, he was a he then, would lock eyes with me and make really obnoxious, loud orgasm sounds like that scene in Harry Met Sally. I told him to knock it off and grew sterner when he did it again. Then when I was in the kitchen, he somehow snuck up behind me and was miming jack-off movements with his hand. I turned around and caught him at it. He was still fully clothed, but it was startling and freaky. I kicked him out. So now I'll just call them sperm donor because that's what they are. I'm still calling my daughter, and she because I still haven't been told not to by her otherwise. So get off my case on that. Anyway, the IHOP meeting was a shit show. Sperm donor sat with my daughter and went on the attack. Sperm donor's points were, I was poisoning my daughter by making her take birth control. I only helped her get the prescription and would have done everything I could if I knew she didn't want to take the pill. There are other methods. It will take years to fix my daughter after all I did. Not giving her hormones, even though I had no idea that was what she wanted. She dropped even wanting to change her pronouns after a few weeks. Abortion is a sin, and I am a monster for suggesting it. It's past the date anyway. I am further abusing her by not taking care of the baby while she fixes herself. I guess they meant it as a temp situation, which was also new to me. So apparently, even though I'm an abusive monster, a bad mother, and so on, I'm even worse for not taking in their baby. At least no one suggested that I raise it like my daughter's sister anymore. That might have been my daughter's thought on it. Sperm donor did most of the talking while my daughter just sat and glared at me, nodding along. It was kind of a whirlwind. Sperm donor pounded the table a few times, and even the waiter knew not to bother us after drinks, lol. I'm surprised we weren't asked to leave. There was a lot said, mostly by the sperm donor who really seemed to be steering the ship. I asked why sperm donor couldn't take care of the baby, and sperm donor said their parents were even worse than me. I guess my daughter and sperm donor taking care of the child they created is out of the question. I told them that I would not be raising their baby for them, and that adoption is the best bet. They said that if I don't agree to raise it, they'll make sure I'll never see the baby ever. I won't raise their child for them. So that's that, I guess. I feel so many flavors of worried and angry and then worried all over again. I've been around the block, and it's never a great sign when the person you're with makes an enemy of your family. That's what sperm donor has done by painting me as an abuser and failed mother who also won't take in their baby. Sounds like sperm donor has cut themselves off from their own family, too. So I'm worried my daughter is in a very controlling relationship with someone who convinced her to stop birth control because they think hormones are too feminizing somehow and that she needs to be fixed. But they still want me to raise their baby. I'm angry that my daughter can just hear this crap and nod along like, yeah, that makes total sense. She's not stupid. I think she's love-blinded. I'm sad and worried for the baby. A couple commenters suggested I wanted nothing to do with the baby because I wouldn't agree to raise it as my own. No. In a perfect world, I would want a normal grandmotherly relationship. Or at least know that the child is safe and has been adopted into a loving family. I don't care what my daughter does with her gender or her body as long as she doesn't hurt herself. I want her to be in a happy relationship with someone who values her for who she is. Sperm donor kept using the word fix, which I see as another terrible sign. It's bad all around. My house is empty. It feels like my adult daughter has run off to join up with some weird church cult thing who tells her that up is down, that not using birth control and not getting an abortion and then expecting others to take care of the child is all a-okay. Oh, and that she's a problem and needs to be fixed. I texted her and said I would be there for her, but sperm donor was still not welcome in the house. I think I'm blocked again. She's a legal adult. I'm not sure what else I can do at this point. In my low points, part of me thinks maybe I should agree to take the baby and then immediately make sure it's adopted into a loving home. But I get the feeling that sperm donor won't make that easy, and right now my daughter does what he says. Also, I'm not sure if that plan is even possible. It sounds Hollywood. I have an appointment to speak with a counselor, but the soonest I could get is April. Some of my friends think I should take the baby in either to get them away from the parents or because they think it's my duty, or both. The only silver lining in this was that they both seemed sober. I don't think there's drugs involved. Am I reading this wrong? Am I the asshole here? How do you like these stories? Write your opinion in the comments. Let's get 1,000 subscribers on this channel. Love you.